Hey, I'm here to get my glamping site permitted. They said this was the permitting department. You wanna build what? No, it's luxury camping. It's essentially a campsite, but I will have utilities and other things like that. Absolutely not on my watch. There's not gonna be no glamping and gathering in my part. Well, gosh darn it, you should have just said that from the beginning. You got yourself a permit. Let's talk about how to actually get a permit for your glamping site and some tips that will help. Nice flippin' choice. What's up, you permitting party people? It's Garrett from the Nice Flippin' Choice channel, back again with another glamping video, a semi-highly requested, lukewarmly requested video about permitting. Now, this process is completely different if you're going off-grid or on-grid, and each location from county to city to state and everything in between is completely different. But there are 5 major tips that help me get my glamping site permitted, and that will probably help you get your site permitted too in the areas that you're looking. Not a 100% chance, but these will give you the best foot forward. Now, I think the last one is the most important, so I would watch all the way through the video to see what I'm talking about. Now, before I get into these tips, one of the most crucial pieces is work with a qualified real estate agent and a qualified lender. Your agent should know a lender. Your lender probably knows an agent too as well if they're good. This is gonna help you know what you can afford and what areas you should go to. The real estate agent isn't gonna cost you anything if you're buying, because 99.9% of the time as an agent, we get paid by the seller if we're working with the buyer. So there's no excuse for you not to work one, because I guarantee you we know a lot of things that you're not even expecting you should know. We also know tons of lenders and other resources, handymen, cleaners such as that will be able to help you start your glamp site and really get it running. Now, my first tip is pick an area that has a history of short-term rental allowance. Now, what do I mean by this? Pick an area that has been known for vacation rentals way before Airbnb was a thing. I'm talking lake towns, mountain areas, national parks. There's a good chance that they've had cabins and other lake houses and things like that that have been renting out on a short-term rental basis for a long time. They're not new to this, they're true to this. This is how they've been making their money for quite a while. And so short-term rentals and Airbnbs are not gonna get banned most likely anytime soon. They tend to be more lenient on setting up sites like this. So pinpoint some areas that you know will be able to allow this, and they're never going to be able to really change up on you and shut down your site. You can jump on Airbnb and VRBO to see if there's a heavy population of places in certain areas. This will give you a clue if they're more allowed than others, and also make it a lot harder for them to change rules and shut a lot of these down. Is it 100% foolproof? No, but if they have a history of it, there's a bigger chance that they're going to let it keep going. My second tip is avoid HOAs at all costs. Avoid HOAs like the sushi at gas station. Avoid HOAs like women that seem interested in you in Vegas. Avoid them like Taco Bell at late night.
Wait a minute.
Avoid them. You get the point. HOAs can single-handedly bring down an operation, and I highly, highly, highly doubt that they want a glamping site within their ever so amazing community. If there is no HOA, then there's a pretty high chance that it's unrestricted and can be used for commercial or residential property, and this is what you need to be looking for. It will make your permitting and planning process so much easier going forward. Avoid HOAs like the plague. Now, my third tip is pick your structure and be prepared to pay for architecture plans. Now, picking land and then deciding what structure to put on it and things like that seems smart, but let me explain why that's backwards. Now, if you find an area and go to the planning department without any idea of structure, you're just gonna be explaining your hopes and dreams, and it's not gonna get you very far, like your Tinder bio. If you have a structure picked out, you can go to this planning department, show them the structure, maybe talk to some companies that have different architecture plans for these, other things like that, and be able to get a better idea if you're gonna be allowed to do that type of structure in their area. Now, if you're doing any type of on-grid structure, be prepared to pay between $2,000 and $5,000 or even more in architecture plans, but this will help you tremendously in getting permitted. This is one reason why I chose to do a geodome as my first one and use Pacific Domes as the place I bought it from specifically, because you could add on a feature to get architecture plans from somebody that is stamped within all 50 states, and this made getting my permit very easy. My permitting head even called me and said I probably went overboard in the architecture plans and sent in more than I needed to. They just just wanted to come out and see it and see how it was even going to be done because I thought it was cool. But these plans from Pacific Domes were $2,500 to get them, and they were very detailed. Now, if you're off grid, all of this can completely change, but having the structure is still key to be able to see if it'll be allowed to set up temporary structure or a campsite. My tip number 4 is work with a highly qualified contractor that is local to the area. Why I think somebody that is more local to the area is huge is because they get permits all day, every day, and they probably have dealt with that county numerous times. If you're starting to research a couple areas, start finding contractors in those areas and call them and talk about some of your plans and talk about, what you have going on and see how hard they think it's going to be to get permitted. When I was deciding between some of my areas, I ended up narrowing it down to 2 different counties. I talked to different contractors they worked both areas and in different places, and all of them said that the one county that I ended up choosing was going to be 1,000,000 times easier to deal with than the other county, just by how they ended up taking plans and other things like that. And boy, were they right. I had a very easy process to getting permitted with all my steps in line and a lot of these tips I used. Contractor probably knows or is even related to somebody in the permitting department, the smaller you get in rural areas. And my 5th tip, last but not least for sure, I just briefly touched on it, is make sure you're picking the right county. Start a dialogue with that permitting department. Talk to other permitting departments of areas you're trying to choose. Be honest up front with what you are doing and what you're trying to do. Don't try to sweep it under the rug and sugarcoat it somehow, because that will come back and bite you in the I guarantee it. Put your best foot forward and explain how you hope to bring more tourism to the area, highlight the amazing activities in the area, all these other things like that. You're going to pay your taxes, you're going to pay your local county taxes, your hotel taxes, all those things like that will be remitted, your state taxes, everything will be in line and they will have no worries about that. Make best friends with some of these permitting departments, especially the further you're trying to expand, because they will be able to help a lot of things go so much more smooth. Bring them some cookies, bring them some brownies, just tell them how much you appreciate them and the work they do, because I guarantee you nobody else is telling them. Now, there are so many factors that go into getting your place permitted. The head of the permitting department may have ate some bad chili on the day you're trying to get your permit. One county may hate your idea, the next county may love your idea, and who knows, because rural areas, it's a lot smaller departments usually, and it's usually a couple people making decisions, and we're all human. Everybody is human no matter what they're going through. You'll have a lot less loopholes to go through if you're working with a smaller department, but those loopholes are going to be higher that you have to jump through probably. Good luck in your permitting endeavor, and let me know if you have any questions or comments below. And if you haven't subscribed, please do it to help the channel grow. And until next time, peace.
Yeah.